Was it me, or did it feel like January went on forever? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and I'm going to be your host. If this is your first time joining, thank you so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Please leave a like, comment, let me know what you think of the content, or at least drop a comment, let me know what you are currently reading. Today's video is wrapping up what I finished up in the month of January and what I'm currently reading. That is actually going to carry a little bit into February, but I should be almost done of this recording with that book, and I am going to count it in my January reads, but I'm not quite finished with it yet. So we'll go over that. And this is also going to be the first time in one of these wrap-ups where I'm also going to talk a little bit about my writing and how that's going. And I'm also going to show off a little bit of a book haul, not a very large one, just some books I've recently came into my possession. That's kind of the setup for this video today. Let's talk first about what I finished up in January. Show me a hero, and I'll show you a man enslaved by his competence. Okay, as to what I finished since our last weekly update, I have finished Curse of the Mistwraith by Janny Wurt. This is book one of The Wards and Light and Shadow. This is in book one of a 11-book series, with this first book being first published in 1993, and the last book, book 11, just published last year. So that's how long this series has been going on, and I'm sure she's relieved that she wrapped up a series, so it is a complete series. And wow, what a start to this series. So first off, this was a book that is a buddy read for the month of January, and myself and at least 6-7 booktubers are all currently reading this. I'm sure you've seen this book mentioned on many other channels. I don't want to probably repeat what everybody else is saying, but just real briefly, we will be having a discussion mid-February that's going to be hosted on John from the channel Talking Story. We'll be hosting at least the first book for this. The plan is, again, to read one book every other month, so that I won't be picking up the second book until sometime in March for myself to read. I am grateful we are doing these every other month, because I'm still kind of like, I'm still gathering my thoughts from book one, because what a book it was. So Curse of the Mistwraith is one of those books that is one of the reasons why I picked up fantasy and love fantasy in the first place. I want to take my time. I want to get immersed in a world. I want to be engaged with the characters engaging in that world, and just, lose track of time, or lose my thoughts of the craziness of reality. And Janny does that for me really well in this book, and it's one of those books that is described as a slower paced book, but the payoff, I feel like, is so worth it. In fact, it has such a bigger impact because it took its time to get there, but the payoff is so good. Wow, that second half of the book is just really just kicks you. It did take most of my month, and it was it went a little longer than I wanted to for not the story, but how long it took me to read it, because the density it's there, kind of like I said, with like that's where the comparison with like Erickson and Hobb are there, because there is a density to that story, but it's not unapproachable. And I think a lot of people tend to be put off by like hearing about, like, for instance, her prose. Her prose is unique, and her prose is different, but it's not intimidating as people make it out to be. Far from it, actually. Now, the Gallant, which was her prequel novella, was my first taste of kind of her writing, And I'll admit that had some very unique prose that I just maybe wasn't used to because it's been so long since I read something along those lines. But I enjoy reading books that have that kind of different prose. Guy Gavriel Kay, for instance, was one of my favorite authors of 2024 because he had such a unique way of writing, and she does as well. Now, when I got to The Curse of Mithraith, I was expecting kind of the writing style of the Gallant, but I found it a lot more easier, if anything. And so, again, I think people just need to stop being discouraged or intimidated by, again, these are thick books and it's an 11 book series, but I think there's so much to enjoy there. And I'm really excited to continue this series. Again, a big thank you again to Janny for being able to secure not only this hardcover, but at least half a dozen other of her hardcovers. She was able to send this like on my birthday, no less, and back in October. It's not easy to find these. They stopped publishing these at HarperCollins, so hopefully some of these hardcovers can get reprinted and get into more people's hands. A family not founded, but forged in fair fame, with souls sparked from embers to crimson their name. Their bonds are like iron, strong as stone withstanding flood. Nothing can stop them nor break apart the brothers' blood. Yet betrayal erodes the memory, foul treachery from within. The love they held for each other grows ethereal, wears thin. And on the eve of forgetting, each and every gone their way. One last great adventure to my brothers from beyond the grave. The other book I finished for the month was The Blood Brothers Beyond. This is by Rob J. Hayes, and this is part of the Mortal Techniques series. Now, I have read all of other Rob J. Hayes' books to the Mortal Techniques series. They can be read as standalones, so you can really essentially pick up any one of these books that you want to, that sounds the most interesting to you. I do encourage everybody to start with Never Die, which is the sort of his first book he wrote in this series. All of them were so good, and again, he knocks it out of the park with this with Blood Brothers. And so Blood Brothers is essentially about two brothers, not by blood. They are, sort of warriors, and like kind of like a brotherhood of warriors. And it is a story about two of them taking a deceased third brother to top of the mountain to be burned, so essentially his soul could be sent to heaven. You basically follow one of these brothers, and he has a lot of struggles. He deals with a lot of like personal turmoil. He did have like some issues with his deceased brother, but his like sort of his duty is still to, of course, the brothers. And it was such a great, wonderful story. There's some very clear Japanese influence in these books, a lot of the lore, and there's a very Japanese feel to the book. But it like all of his other books that kind of have that take place in the same world, they all have that very Asian inspired feeling to them. And this was just another wonderful story in that I have loved every single one of these books in the Mortal Techniques series. And I just love how he handles characters. It was a very fast-paced book. I think I read it in one sitting, maybe two. It was just hard to put down. I don't know. I love stories like this. I encourage you to really pick up the Mortal Techniques series. Rob J. Hayes knocked it out of the park again with this one, and such an engaging story, and I loved it. This next book is sort of my carryover into February. As of this recording, I was not quite finished with it at the end of January. Just started a little late in my reading in January to begin with. And like I said, it took a lot of time in with engaging into Janny Wurt's Curse of the Mistwraith. I'm not really one of those people that has to have be done dead at a month. It is a lot easier when you're doing these videos or you're recording your books into your monthly Goodreads, which I'm trying to get better at. It is what it is. I'm gonna, carry this over, and I have no problem with that. So that book is The Blood of the Kami. This is by Baptiste, Pinson. This is a upcoming arc, actually, that I'm reading. The book itself is set for release April 2nd of 2025. For centuries, the Yasaki have fought the corrupted souls who seek to plunge Japan into darkness, but the fragile balance is now shifting towards the forces of evil. Ren Fudo, a young soul hunter, blessed with the blood of the Kami, receives a mission from Amaterasu Umakami. This simple errand is a spirit-given chance to pay off his debt to the Yasaki. But as he and his new companion, a shrine maiden possessed by a violent land Kami, take to the road, Ren remembers that spirits never give for nothing. The mission turns more dangerous and crucial with every step. The future of Japan now rests on their shoulders, and an army of yokai stand on their path. As mentioned in the beginning of the video, I kind of wanted to share a few books that I'm probably going to do like every weekly update, share a few books that I got in a book haul. That way it's not just one huge video. First one I got as a gift, and that was from fellow booktuber Tori Tecken over at Tori Talks, and she sent me Orconomics by J. Zachary Pike. And this is book one of the Dark Prophet saga. And this is sort of a finance and fantasy sort of read. It's a very satire look into economics. It's set in this like fantasy world. There's supposed to be a lot of humor, adventure. So it sounds like a very fun, refreshing read. I heard a lot of good things about this series. So I was pretty excited when she sent me that. So again, thank you, Tori, over at Tori Talks. I'll have her channel link below. If you're not subscribed, you should be by now. Her channel is fantastic, great content, and looking forward to a fun read. As to what else I picked up here, I picked up a new book here by Shannon Lee and Fonda Lee. This is Breath of the Dragon. This is a brand new book. Looks like a collab author book here. I'm not familiar with Shannon Lee, but I am definitely familiar with Fonda Lee in the Greenbone Saga, and I really love that series. It's one of my favorite of the modern fantasy series that I've read. So yeah, I'm curious to read something different from her and see where she goes with this one. I know Fonda has another book probably coming out, I think same year, this year, that's supposed to be a cyberpunk book, so I'm pretty excited for that one too. But for now I have this one. It's not very long either, so should be a fun read for sure. So some special editions I got. The first one I got here from the Broken Binding, and that is the first book to the Adan trilogy by Philip Chase. This is The Way of Adan, and I'm really happy that Philip got the Broken Binding treatment. This book is gorgeous. The artwork is fantastic. It's got some gold spray painted edges to that. There's a very Token-esque feel to that spine for some reason, and the picture itself. I feel like there's a very Token-esque feel, which I think, is great for Philip because, you know, I think J.R.R. Tolkien was such an inspiration to the trilogy. I did read the first book back when it was first released. I loved it. For some reason, I haven't continued with the series. I think I was waiting on the audio, and now that the audio's out, I'm going to actually re-immerse myself in the trilogy this year and do some immersive reading with the audio and reread of the first book. And then I'm going to get again to the second and third book. And I do hope, of course, that to have these, all three of them from the Broken Binding. I hope they will do all three of them, of course. And I'm sure they will if they're going to do one. But yeah, cool. I'm really happy for Philip, and I can't wait to rediscover The Way of Dan, and then, of course, its sequels. The other really exciting collector's editions I have, and I've been wanting these for so long in my life, is Broken Binding released the first three books of the Malazan Book of the Fallen by Steven Erikson. The artwork on all three of these so far is gorgeous, and I'm just so thrilled to have this set when it's completed, because I got a really hodgepodgey Malazan Book of the Fallen, and I'm not showing you these in order, so I know Dead House Gates is the second book. Calm down, everybody. But I have a very hodgepodge collection, where I have like a hardback, I have some paperbacks, and then they changed like the style of the paperbacks. And the paperbacks are those nice big, you know, they bend, you know, they open up really easy. I might keep them for reading because I am currently reading. I am on break, but I am currently reading Malazan, and but to have a completed set like this, and if they're all going to have this nice, beautiful consistency that this set does, I am just so thrilled. Malazan, of course, is one of my favorite, has been one of my favorite worlds of all time. I've only read the first two, and I've read the first two twice. I read them when they were first published, and they were my inspiration to my own writing. So I'm just absolutely thrilled, and I cannot wait. And, you know, I think it's cool that they create a photo from the spray painted edges. And one of the other things I want to say about this is, by the way, how I wish most fantasy had their cover. This is such great direction for me. The title, you can still clearly read it. You can clearly read the author's name. The author's name is on the bottom. The title of the book is on the top. I always say I can't stand books that the author's name is on the top. It's like, I know who the author is. I want to know, you know, the title is the important thing. So I'm not going to mention names on who likes to prominently has their name at the top, and that covers the beautiful, beautiful artwork, by the way. This is done so well. So great job to, again, the Broken Binding. I think Patrick Leo has some say in the art direction on this. Regardless, whoever does this is how books should be, in my opinion. When I write my book, title on the top, my name on the bottom, art clearly visible. Plain and simple. All I gotta say. So those are just some books that I've accumulated some more. Maybe I'll share them next time. This is gonna be my first time I am sharing information about my writing. So just for some transparency, as of book one, I am currently working on first edits. The book one is completely written. I believe so anyway. I am doing my own my first run of edits. I'm probably going to do a second run of edits myself before I send it off to a professional editor. I just want to make sure there are things that I'm catching that I no longer need, or I might have changed, because I kind of been, book one especially, I've been writing for, nearly nearly 10 years, not quite, but nearly 10 years. And granted, there's been a couple of years there where I wasn't even writing. So, but off and on, I mean, obviously my writing style has changed in those 10 years. So I want to make sure that everything, the voice still sounds the same when I'm reading it. And I haven't really like changed that style, but there's a lot of things I've learned that I'm catching. I want to go through those first edits by myself. I want to make sure my voice sounds consistent because only I know my own voice. And then I'll go off and send it to a professional editor. So that's where I am on book 1. I have book 2 about 30% written. Now, initially, book 2, part of book 2 was part of book one, but then I realized that book 1 was going to be, I mean, you're going to look at like Stormlight Archive size books there, and I didn't want that to be my debut. I want my debut to be a little more approachable. I still think it's going to be a, a little bit of chunky, maybe. We'll see. But I don't want people intimidated by that. So I did find a place to split that. So that was another reason why I need to go through a little more on the edits of book 1. I need to make sure that I do want a precise ending to book 1, because when book 2 happens, I also have, of course, new POVs, and I don't want that to be too jarring. Definitely had to change some things around. So things are looking good. The reason why I'm writing book 2 is because I don't want like another like half decade before, or years before a book 2 comes out. I want to have it kind of prepared, so then it's not a long period of time. I have time to write, but I want to make sure what I put out is, I feel good about what I put out, is kind of my takeaway from this. So that's a little bit of my updates on the writing right now, and I will keep you updated for more. If you enjoy that, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I could do separate videos on the writing, but I think it goes hand in hand with reading, and I think it's something that I enjoy talking about. And now that I'm getting into a part in the writing, I feel like I can start sharing more. I probably plan to keep it going because it's as much as reading. Writing is another aspect to why I'm in this space. So I hope you enjoy that. So that's the end of this. Again, February, I will be finishing Blood of the Commie. Next weekly wrap up, I will start talking a little more directly about the other books I have planned for the month. So I hope you'll come back and watch that video. Otherwise, that's all I have for now, guys. Thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing. And until next time, may your journeys be epic. Take care. Was the was Rob J. Hayes's The Blood Brother, or Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elder Rings. I don't know.